Hello. I wanted to take some time and show you how to work with both Google online searching for images and Photoshop inside your computer so that you can create some research collages to submit for class projects. These also be real helpful when you're working on shows and you just want to grab a bunch of images online and assemble them. You can print them, you can save them as a JPEG, pass them along, but they're very helpful to have these things. So basically, the first step you want to do is go inside Photoshop. Your icons may look different. I think I have an older version of it. But basically, I think it's pretty easy here to open up a file and we'll begin the process. Now, I have a couple of windows open over here that can be very helpful to have. And I'll show you when you click on the Windows icon over here. Character is going to give you the text that you have over there. You can muck around with colors of things. History, I think, is really helpful because as you work, you can keep things, see what you've been doing, get rid of things, and you definitely want to be able to see layers. And paragraph allows you to work with the text as you're spacing it and laying it out. So I think those are probably the most helpful windows to have open. But basically, you're going to go over under File and go to New. Most often, it comes up as Custom or something odd like that. I like to go to US Paper, and I begin by defining instead of 8.5, I like to give it 8, and I like to go to 10.5. And what that's doing now is giving you a little margin on the side so your images won't be cropped when you load to the edges of the page. And I would change the resolution. I think it usually defaults around 300. I'd shift it to 100 or 150 because most of the images you're going to pull off the web will fit very nicely on that collage. And the resolution will be really good. You'll have less editing to do if you go with 150. So I wouldn't title it yet. I'd just hit OK. And that's going to build for you a document over here that you can start to work in. It's a clear palette. I would also suggest going under View and make sure that your rulers are on. Having rulers in a document is very helpful so you can see how big things are. If you're in this mode up here, allows you, by clicking on the first tool in your toolbar, allows you to move things around. And one of the things that you can do is take your mouse, your cursor, and reach up into the ruler, and it'll give you these blue lines that you can position anywhere that you want to. If you want to get rid of them, just drag them back up there. But these can help orient images, and you can see sizes of things and proportions. We'll go into that more later on other videos, but just to kind of get a sense of how that works, having those handy is really useful. So you've created your blank document here, and then I opened up Google, and I would say let's just make a collage where we're looking for images of tables. So I'm going to just type table and go to images here, and we got lots of choices. One of the things that I like about Google is it gives you all sorts of other ideas of things to search for, but we can certainly hunt along. Maybe the first thing I decide is I really like this pedestal table. Notice that the image size here is about 300, and that's going to be a good size to load into our document. So I'm going to take this window and slide it over so that I can see what I'm doing over here inside Photoshop. And I clicked on the image, which enlarges it, and I'm going to click on the picture itself and just drag it over Photoshop. Now it's kind of cut it off a little bit over here, but since I've got this icon going, I can maneuver it around. It's pretty small, could go a little bit larger. You can enlarge images really big if you feel like it, or keep them fairly small. The larger you make it, however, the fuzzier it's going to get. So I usually enlarge a little bit. So if you go under Edit and roll down here to transform and go to scale. That now puts a box around the image. And if you put your finger on the shift key down here on your keyboard, on your computer, and go to a corner, by holding the shift, it's going to move proportionally. If you don't hold the shift key, as I now let go of the shift key, I can slide it and really mess up the proportions, which may work to your advantage, but generally I like to keep things proportional. So I'm gonna, hopefully I haven't distorted it too much. I'll slide it back there a little bit, looks good. And then when you're done transforming, one thing you have to do is hit return or enter, and otherwise it stays frozen. It won't let you proceed. Now I'm going to go over here to look at my history, and I see that free transform, I finished that up. And if I decide, you know what, I really don't like the way that I transformed that, I can click on this layer and I can dump it into the little trash can just below that window. And it undid what I had transformed. So I want to redo that because I do want it to be a little larger. I'm going to go to scale, edit, transform, scale. I'm pushing the shift key, going to pull on that image a little bit more. That's good. I'm going to hit return or enter. I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to search out. Now this is nice because they've also given me some cool other tables over here I can choose. And then I can even go to more of something that's like that. But I don't know, this looks like a great one. Now this is interesting because this image is very, very large. Notice it's in the 2000 range. So let me show you what I would do if I want this image when I download it. It's going to come in very, very large. So let me pull it and dump it. It takes a moment because it's so big. It's covered everything else up. I'm pretty sure you could change the image inside with shortcuts and what have you, but I typically just like to go to edit, transform, because I got the most control over this thing. And I'm going to go to scale here, and I'm going to hold the shift key, and I'll start sliding, and now I'm going to let go of the shift key and my cursor, and I'm going to pull the table back over here again, and I'm going to push the shift key, and I'm going to slide this down till it's smaller, and I'm going to let go of the shift key, and I'm going to move this around and go, oh yeah, that looks pretty good up there. And I can slide it up a little bit higher. Now I could make it smaller if I wanted, or keep it that size. But again, when you're done transforming, just hit return. So that was a small table image over here on the left. There's a pretty big one here on the right, and you see how I changed its size. Let's go search for something else now. I've hunted for lots of tables, I'm imagining, but now I want to kind of figure out some other styles of tables. So I'm going to add some adjectives to my search, and I'm going to say rustic table. Let's see what comes up. So things are a little more handmade. This is an interesting design. If I decided I liked that one's even better. This is a good one. And again, it's pretty large, but I think it's going to translate quite well. Now, one thing to think about, however, is if you're just clicking on the image here and you were to grab this and dump it, it would come in really, really small. So you always want to highlight the image that you want, enlarge it, and drag it that way, rather than just peeling it right out of the Google list that's there. Now, so I have this layer that I just loaded in here, and I go, you know what? I don't want that in my collage at all. So what I'm going to do is go over here to the layers window on the right. And by the way, you can position these windows wherever you want to. Just grab that upper bar up there and place them wherever you like. But you can take this layer and you can throw it in the trash. Again, most of them have a little trash can at the bottom, a lot of them, where you're manipulating things. So that threw that layer away. Now, what if I decide, you know what, I kind of want to reposition this one, move it over just a little bit more, but the one that I'm controlling actually is layer 2, and every time I go to move, that's the only one that I get. So if you just click over here on layer, that now has highlighted this one, and I can go back and work and do things to this particular layer. I could also click on this where it says layer, double click it, it'll let me text label this particular layer, and I can say pedestal brown, so I can distinguish them. Usually I don't want to take all that time, but if you like, you can certainly do that as you maneuver things around so you know what's where. You can also take a layer and move it so this is now on top, which means it's come to the front. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a bit, but let's grab ourselves another rustic table. Here it is. I went back over here to Google. I'm going to grab this image and dump it down. It's pretty large again. Now you see how it came in here underneath this layer? It's being cut off by that previous layer. In other words, the one that's on top over here in the window on the right with the layers is the one that's dominant. So it's, imagine you've taken a page and just piled it on top of the other page. So I'm going to take layer 3 and put it up here on top, and now it's the one that's dominant. I'm going to make this table a little bit smaller, so I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to go up here and make it a little bit smaller, because basically what I want are several columns, if you will, of table images. I'm going to move this over and look. It still looks a little bit big, but I think it'll be all right. Maybe make it a bit smaller. Hold the Shift key. Push this a little bit more. I think that's good. I'm going to hit return so I can do other things to it. Now, to me, it looks like there's a lot of extra stuff here that's just getting in the way. I don't really want it. So I'm going to go up here to this menu on the left, and I'm going to click on this square box there. Now, you may have a different looking image right there, because if you come up to this icon and you hold down the left button on your mouse, you can choose different shapes, different tools that you want to work with. I typically just work with a rectangle, but you can certainly change that to work inside what you're doing there with Photoshop. So I got my rectangle, and what I'm doing is going outside, outside of the picture, because I want to chop some of this away. So I'm going to start out here and make a box, and I'll go near the edge. So in essence, what I'm going to do is get rid of all this noise that's in here. So I made the box. I'm working on this layer, and I basically go onto the keyboard and hit delete, and it chops away at that. When I'm done, I want to click outside of it so it quits thinking about it, and go back up here to my move tool, and then I'm going to position that table right there. Let's go back and search for some more images. Maybe there's another rustic table that we're really fond of. Oh, that one's funky. Again, it's not too big, but kind of interesting. So I highlighted it, chose it, because again, this will come in really small if I don't. Drag that, dump it. Still a little big. Now there is a shortcut for transforming. Basically, you can go Command T, and it gives you that transform for scale without going up here to the edit transform. So I'm going to hold the Shift key. I'm going to go smaller. I don't want to get too small. Hit return. Now I can move it around again. Without return, I can't do anything else to it. So I'm going to go back to Google, and I'm going to try a different word this time. Let's say abstract, because I'm curious what kinds of abstract tables will come up if I want something. Maybe there's a better adjective than that, but certainly does give me some curious looking tables here. Some of them quite interesting to look at. So here's a cool image. This gives me 3 for the price of 1. It's a good size too. So I'm going to drag this over and dump it. That's pretty small. So I'm going to go edit, transform, scale. I'm going to go shift, and I'm going to tug on it. And now I've got myself some good images here for playing with. You can also maneuver images around on the page by going down on your keyboard, and you have the small triangle arrows. If you tap on one, say I'm going to tap on the top one, I can inch it up. I can nudge it around without messing around with my mouse. I'm going to find one more abstract table to load in there. This is an interesting looking thing here. Notice again over here, there are a lot of other choices that are similar. If I wanted to use those, it'll just jump around and help me find something that I like. I think the first one's good, and that's a good size. Hooray! Again, I'm not real fond of all the rest of the stuff that's around this, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take my marquee tool. I'm going to get the box a little bit larger. I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm going to click on it again so that goes away. And I'm going to get my moving tool and move my table. So now I got a lot of tables. I've done a lot of work. I don't want to lose my progress. In fact, I want to save it now before I do anything else. I'm going to go File. I'm going to go Save. And I'm going to give it a title. So I'm going to say Table Research. And where am I going to save it? Well, there are a number of places. I think for now I'm going to put it on the desktop. It'd be best if you've created folders and started loading your information that way. And you could certainly upload it then into a Google Drive or save it wherever you want to. And I'm going to, it's coming in as a Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and save that now. It's asking me best compatibility. Okay, that's what I want. Now, I think for these research images, it's best also if you put a title and some text. Typically, that's done in a lower corner of the page, so people know what it is you're doing and that it's yours. So I'm going to come over here to the letter T, and that's going to give me my text. Now, up here in this column, I've got a whole lot of things that I can see as far as working with the text. But I also have the character window open here, which actually may be a little bit easier to work with. I have a few more options. You can get any font that you like. I think Times is pretty good. It's pretty straight ahead. I do, 14 points. That's not bad, 12, 14 points. And over here is the space between the lines. You can set it exactly 214 so they match up and they could come very close together, or you could put a little more space in there. You can also choose the color of your text. If I click on that, I can move this guide up and down and get any color I want, and then I can have as much white or black in it as I want. And actually, I want my letters to be quite dark. So I'm just going to say OK, and now that makes my text very dark. And I click over here when I want to start typing, and I'm going to say Table Research 1, because it's my first table, and I'm going to put my name on it. So I hit Return, otherwise it's going to keep typing. I'm going to type my name here. So that, now I know it's mine. I'm done. This is good. I like that. I'm going to go back up to my Move tool, and now I can position that. If I want to go back in and edit it, change the text, because I suddenly realize, oh, I don't like how it says Table Research. I want those all caps. I'm going to come back over here to my layers, and I'm going to click on the large T, double click it fast. It lets you now highlight and access this. So I went back over here, and I'm going to delete that. And now it says Table Research 1. This is good. So now I'm done with that. I have to either hit Enter, or I'm going to go up here and touch that moving cursor. So now I have Table Research 1 collage. And so I'm all set, actually. And so I'm going to save this so I can ship it around, move it, and share it more easily as a JPEG. But a JPEG now, once I save it as that, means I can't alter it or edit it as I can in Photoshop. But I'm going to go Save As, and I got Table Research, and I'm going to actually say Table Research 1 over here. And I'm going to drop down to this menu where it says the format. I'm going to choose JPEG, and I know it's going to dump it here on the desktop, and I'm going to save it. And as far as the image quality, I really want a large file because otherwise it gets small and fuzzy. So that's what I want. And now I have it saved as a JPEG on the desktop. But I still have my page open here, and I want to do table research number 2. So what I can do is I can come over here and I can click on these eyeballs and turn off all these layers. And I'm ending with this one highlighted. And actually, I could even leave that turned on, and I can change the text if I want later on. But I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to find another table just real quick. That's a curious table. And I'm just going to drag this one, dump it in there. Hooray, I have a new table. I'm going to edit, transform, scale, hold the shift key, pull on it, make it a little bit bigger because I want to be able to see it a little bit larger. Hit return, I'm good to go. And I can keep adding layers. If I want to turn any of these back on, I certainly can. I can rearrange them so other layers are on top of other layers. You see how I can maneuver these around. But generally speaking, I tend to build this way. Every so often I'll save what I'm doing. And once I fill another page, then I'll probably go along here and save it as another JPEG, table research 2 or what have you. So once I'm done with that, I can either print directly and have the page, or I can ship the image around. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to minimize my Google page, and here they are. Here's the table research JPEG that I've got. I can open that very quickly. Again, it's very easy to move it around and upload it or print it. And here's my original, which is still the thing that I'm working on over here. So hopefully this is really helpful to you, and you'll find it works quite well. It's pretty efficient. Do let me know if you have any questions, and good luck with working on it.